Dr. Lisa Murphy looked through the microscope at the tiny alien life forms swimming in the sample dish. After 3 years working on Kepler Station, she still felt amazed by the strange creatures they found on different worlds. The small organisms moved like tiny dancers, their bodies glowing with soft blue light. "These are beautiful," she said to her friend Kethvel, who stood nearby. Kethvel was a Velthari, one of the tall, thin aliens with silver skin and large, dark eyes. He had been Lisa's research partner since she arrived at the station. "Yes, they are special," Kethvel replied in his soft voice. "My people have never seen anything like them before. You humans have good eyes for finding new life." Lisa smiled. Working with 12 different alien species on the research station had been the best experience of her life. At first, many of the aliens had been unsure about having a human on their team. Humans were new to space travel compared to other species. But Lisa had proven herself through hard work and friendship. The station orbited around a planet called Kepler 442b. It was a huge structure made of metal and glass, spinning slowly in space. Inside, scientists from all over the galaxy worked together to study new forms of life. The hallways were filled with the sounds of different alien languages and the hum of research equipment. Lisa had just finished writing notes about the glowing organisms when the station's alarm system started screaming. Red lights flashed in every room. An automated voice spoke in 12 different languages. "All personnel report to emergency stations. This is not a drill." Kethvel's large eyes grew even wider. "What is happening?" he asked. Through the laboratory windows, Lisa could see large, dark ships approaching the station. They were black and covered with weapons. She had never seen ships like these before, but she felt afraid just looking at them. "Unknown vessels, identify yourselves," came the voice of Station Commander Zex Prime over the communications system. Zex Prime was a Zephyrian, one of the crystal-like beings who ran the station. A harsh voice answered back. "This is War Commander Vox Thane of the hegemony of Skarn. You will surrender all human personnel immediately for crimes against galactic order." Lisa's heart started beating fast. She knew about the Skarn. They were a military empire that wanted to control other planets. Recently, Earth had refused to let the Skarn rule over human colonies. This had made the Skarn very angry. "There are no crimes here," Commander Zex Prime replied. "This is a research station. We do not involve ourselves in political matters." "You harbor human criminals," Voxthane said. "Surrender them now or face the consequences." Lisa knew this was about her. She was the only human on the station. The other species had humans working with them on their home worlds, but Lisa was alone here. She started to move toward the door, thinking she should turn herself in to protect her friends. Kethvel grabbed her arm with his long, thin fingers. "No, Lisa. You are not a criminal. You are our friend and colleague." Other aliens in the laboratory heard what was happening. There was Mare Dell, a blue-skinned Nerathi who breathed water and had to wear a special suit to work in air. Next to her stood Quartz Song, a Zephyrian whose crystal body made musical sounds when she moved. Even Grendak, a large furry being from the Ursoid Confederation, came over to stand near Lisa. "The human stays with us," Kethvel said firmly. Through the speakers, they heard Vox Thane laughing. "You aliens care more about one human than your own lives? How foolish. We are boarding your station now. Anyone who protects the human criminal will be treated as an enemy." The station shook as the Skarn ships attached themselves to the docking ports. Lisa could hear the sound of metal doors being forced open. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallways, getting closer to their laboratory. "Please," Lisa said to her friends. "I do not want you to get hurt because of me. Let me go to them." "No," said Mare Dell, her voice making bubbling sounds through her water suit. "You studied with us? You ate with us? You laughed with us? You are family now." More aliens came into the laboratory. Word had spread quickly through the station about what was happening. Soon, 17 different beings surrounded Lisa. They came from 6 different species, all scientists who had worked with her over the years. The laboratory door exploded inward. Skarn soldiers rushed in, wearing black armor and carrying energy weapons. They were tall and muscular, with gray skin and no hair. Their eyes glowed red with anger. "Move away from the human, ordered the lead soldier. Now. The aliens did not move. Instead, they moved closer together, forming a tight circle around Lisa. Keth Vell stood directly in front of her, his arms spread wide. "She is under our protection," he said calmly. "Lisa Murphy has committed no crimes. She is a scientist like us." The scarred soldier raised his weapon. "Last warning, move or we will shoot through you to get to her." "Then you will have to shoot," said Quartz Song, her crystal body ringing like a bell. "We do not abandon our friends." Lisa tried to push forward, but the aliens held her back. She could see the determination in all their eyes. These beings from different worlds with different bodies and different ways of thinking had all chosen to risk their lives for her. The scarred soldier spoke into his communication device. "War Commander, the aliens refuse to move. They are protecting the human." Voxthane's voice came back, cold and cruel. "Then eliminate the obstacles, all of them." "No!" Lisa screamed, but it was too late. The scarred soldiers opened fire. Energy. Beams filled the room with deadly light. The alien defenders fell one by one, their bodies smoking from the terrible weapons. Keth Vell was the last to fall, still trying to shield Lisa with his dying breath. Lisa felt burning pain in her shoulder and leg as stray energy beams hit her. She collapsed to the floor, surrounded by the bodies of her friends. Through her tears, she could see their faces, peaceful in death. They had kept their promise. They had protected her until the very end. As the scarred soldiers grabbed her and dragged her away, Lisa heard one of them speaking into a recording device. But she also heard something else, the sound of the station's emergency transmitter sending out a signal to every corner of the galaxy. Someone had broadcast everything that just happened. The universe would know what the Scarn had done. More importantly, Earth would know that 17 brave beings had died protecting one human civilian. And Lisa knew her people well enough to understand what would happen next. The Scarn had made a terrible mistake. They had hurt the friends of humanity, and humans never forgot their friends. Admiral Jake Harrison was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency alert came through his personal communicator. The device made a sound he had hoped never to hear, the code for a human civilian in mortal danger off-world. He sat down. His cup and ran to the command center of Terra Command. The huge room was already busy with activity. Officers moved between computer screens showing star maps and communication channels. At the center of it all stood a large display screen that showed incoming messages from across human space. "What do we have?" Admiral Harrison asked as he reached his command chair. Lieutenant Commander Sophie Bell turned from her station. "Sir, we received a transmission from Kepler Station 37 minutes ago. The message was sent on all emergency frequencies." Her face was pale. "Sir, you need to see this." The main screen flickered and showed the inside of a laboratory. "Admiral," Harrison could see Dr. Lisa Murphy, whom he recognized from her personnel file. She was surrounded by alien beings he did not recognize, but who were clearly protecting her from armed soldiers. He watched in horror as the events unfolded. The alien beings refused to move away from the human woman. They spoke about friendship and protection. Then the soldiers opened fire, killing all 17 defenders to get to one civilian. The transmission ended with Dr. Murphy being dragged away, wounded but alive. The last image showed the bodies of the aliens who had died for her, their different forms lying still on the laboratory floor. The command center was completely silent. Every person in the room had watched the transmission. Admiral Harrison felt a cold anger growing in his chest. These beings had given their lives to protect a human they barely knew, and the Scarn had murdered them for it. "Get me President Sullivan," he said quietly. While they waited for the connection, more reports came in. The transmission had been received across human space. Every colony, every ship, every human settlement had seen what happened on Kepler Station. The reaction was immediate and intense. Captain Amy Foster called in from the UES Defiance, her voice tight with emotion. "Admiral, my crew is requesting permission to depart for Scarn space immediately. We cannot let this stand." Similar messages were coming from every human ship and station. Captain Ben Wright of the UES Liberty sent a message saying his entire crew had volunteered for combat duty. Commander Linda Shaw reported that her Special Operations team was ready to launch within the hour. President Kate Sullivan appeared on the screen, her face grim. She had clearly already seen the transmission. "Admiral, I want options. What can we do?" "Ma'am, the entire fleet is requesting permission to mobilize. Every captain, every crew member wants to respond to this. These aliens died protecting one of our civilians. Our people will not forget that." The president nodded. "I am calling an emergency session of the Earth Defense Council, but Jake, I want you to start preparing. If we decide to act, how quickly can we move?" Admiral Harrison looked at the reports coming in from across human space. "Ma'am, I can have a response fleet ready to depart in 72 hours, but it will not be small. Every commander wants to be part of this." Over the next few hours, the situation became clear. The transmission from Kepler Station had created something that had never happened before in human history: complete unity. Every human settlement, from Earth to the furthest colony, was demanding action. Dr. Peter Kim called from the Lunar Research Facility. "Admiral, I have been analyzing the transmission. The alien beings who protected Dr. Murphy came from 6 different species. They had no reason to risk their lives except friendship. This was pure sacrifice for someone they cared about." Commander Ryan Blake arrived at Terra Command with intelligence reports about the Skarn hegemony. "Sir, the Skarn are a military empire. They respect only strength. If we do not respond to this, they will see it as weakness. More humans will die." As the hours passed, messages started coming from unexpected sources. The first was from the Velthari Confederation, the same species as Keth Vel, who had died protecting Lisa Murphy. Fleet Commander Yeth Kor spoke through the communication channel. "People of Earth, we grieve with you. Our son Keth Vel spoke often of his human friend. His death will not be forgotten. If you choose to seek justice, know that the Velthari fleet stands ready to fight beside you." More messages followed. The Zephyrian Collective, whose crystal being Quartz Song had also died, sent their condolences and an offer of military support. Even species that rarely involved themselves in galactic conflicts were expressing outrage at the Skarn's actions. The Earth Defense Council met in emergency session. The debate was not about whether to respond. Everyone agreed that action was necessary. The question was how big that response should be. General Tony Mitchell, head of the Marine Corps, stood before the council. "The Skarn have made it clear that they consider humans to be inferior beings. They murdered 17 aliens for the crime of protecting one human civilian. If we do not respond with overwhelming force, they will continue to see us as weak." President Sullivan listened to all the arguments before making her decision. "Admiral Harrison, you have authorization to mobilize the entire fleet. Every ship, every crew member who volunteers. Show the galaxy that humans protect their friends." The order went out across human space within minutes. Admiral Harrison had expected perhaps 100 ships to volunteer for the mission. The actual response was far beyond anything he had imagined. Within 6 hours, 847 ships had reported ready for departure. Battle cruisers, destroyers, carriers, and support vessels from every human military and civilian organization. The Merchant Marine volunteered their cargo ships to carry supplies. Even civilian transports offered to carry troops and equipment. Captain Danny Ross of the UES Vengeance summed up the feeling in his message to Fleet Command. "These aliens showed more loyalty to humanity than we sometimes show to each other. They died protecting one of our people. Now we protect their memory." As the fleet began to assemble at Luna Station, Admiral Harrison received one more message that surprised him. It came from the Galactic Council, the organization that tried to keep peace between different species. Council Speaker Zen Vareth spoke with a voice full of sorrow. "Admiral Harrison, the Council has viewed the transmission from Kepler Station. While we cannot officially support military action, we want you to know that many species are watching. The actions of those 17 researchers have shown the galaxy what true friendship means." Admiral Harrison looked out at the growing fleet gathering around Luna Station. Ships were arriving every hour, each one carrying crew members who wanted to honor the aliens who had died protecting a human. This was not just about one woman or one incident. This was about showing the galaxy that humanity valued friendship above everything else. The Skarn had wanted to prove that humans were weak and alone. Instead, they had created the largest alliance in human history. Species that had never worked together were now offering to fight beside human ships. As Admiral Harrison prepared his final briefing for the fleet, he thought about Dr. Lisa Murphy, still held captive somewhere in scarred space. She had no way of knowing what was coming. But soon she would learn that those who protected humanity's children would find themselves protected by humanity's entire fleet. The Skarn had made their choice. Now Earth would show them the consequences. Luna Station had never seen anything like it. Ships arrived every few hours from all across human space, each one carrying volunteers who wanted to be part of the mission. Admiral Harrison stood on the observation deck of his flagship, the UES Retribution, watching as the greatest fleet in human history took shape around him. The massive station orbited Earth's moon, its docking bays designed to handle perhaps 50 ships at once. Now there were 847 vessels of every size and type spread across space for thousands of kilometers. Battle cruisers floated next to cargo ships. Military destroyers shared space with converted civilian transports. All of them carried the same message painted on their hulls: for the 17. Captain Carol Price, commander of the 7th Fleet, joined Admiral Harrison at the observation window. "Jake, I have been in the military for 25 years. I have never seen anything like this. Every ship, every crew member wants to be part of this mission." Admiral Harrison nodded, still amazed by the response. "The alien defenders showed us something, Carol. They proved that friendship can be stronger than fear. Now our people want to show the same thing." Down in the docking bays, Captain Danny Ross was overseeing the loading of supplies onto his heavy cruiser, the UES Vengeance. His crew worked alongside volunteers from dozens of other ships, all helping each other prepare for the long journey ahead. Marines shared equipment with Navy personnel. Cargo ship crews helped battle cruiser captains understand the best routes through scarred space. "Captain Ross," called out Lieutenant Kelly right from the loading dock, "we have enough supplies, loaded for 6 months of operations. The civilian ships brought more food and ammunition than we could ever use." Danny smiled. "The civilians want to help, even if they cannot fight. Load everything we can carry. We may need it all." Across the station, similar scenes were playing out. Captain Helen Gray was meeting with her destroyer squadron commanders, planning their role in the upcoming battle. Her ship, the UES Justice, would lead a group of 12 destroyers, all commanded by officers who had volunteered for the most dangerous assignments. "Remember," she told her captains, "we are not just fighting for Dr. Murphy. We are fighting for the memory of 17 beings who died protecting one human. Every alien species in the galaxy will be watching how we handle this." The most surprising development came on the second day of assembly. A group of unknown ships approached Luna Station, broadcasting friendship signals on all frequencies. They were unlike anything the humans had seen before, sleek silver vessels with strange markings on their hulls. Admiral Harrison received a communication request from the lead ship. When the channel opened, he found himself looking at a tall, thin alien with silver skin and large dark eyes. It was a Velthari, the same species as Kethvel who had died protecting Lisa Murphy. "Admiral Harrison of Earth," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Fleet Commander Yeth Kor of the Velthari. Confederation, our people wish to join your mission." Admiral Harrison was shocked. "Fleet Commander, this is not your fight. We appreciate your support, but we cannot ask you to risk your ships and crews for our mission." Yeth Kor's large eyes seemed to grow even sadder. "Admiral, 17 beings died on Kepler Station. 5 of them were Velthari, including my nephew, Keth Vel. This is very much our fight. We request permission to fight beside you." Before Admiral Harrison could respond, more alien ships appeared. The Zephyrian Collective sent a squadron of their crystal ships, each one singing with musical tones as they moved through space. The Narathi brought their water-filled vessels, bubbling with blue light. Even the normally peaceful Ursoid Confederation sent 3 of their massive cargo ships converted for battle. Dr. Peter Kim, Earth's chief scientist for alien technology, was amazed by what he saw. "Admiral, they are sharing their technology with us. The Velthari have shield generators more advanced than anything we have built. The Zephyrians are showing us their energy weapon designs. This cooperation is unprecedented." In the engineering sections of the human ships, crews worked alongside alien technicians to install new equipment. The barriers between species seemed to disappear as everyone focused on the same goal: justice for the 17 who had died protecting a human. Captain Steve Collins, commander of the fighter wing, was particularly impressed by the alien pilots, who joined his squadrons. These beings have been flying in space for centuries longer than we have. They are teaching us maneuvers I never imagined were possible. The integration was not without challenges. Human food was poisonous to some alien species, while the atmosphere requirements were different for others. But solutions were found quickly. The Narathi built special water-filled compartments on human ships. The Zephyrians created crystal chambers where they could rest between shifts. General Tony Mitchell, watching his Marines train alongside alien soldiers, was amazed by their dedication. These beings have no reason to risk their lives for us except honor. Their friends died, protecting our friend, so now they consider us all friends. It is that simple to them. Meanwhile, on the captured Kepler station, Dr. Lisa Murphy was being held in a small cell with no windows. She did not know about the massive fleet assembling to rescue her, but she was not idle. Her late friend, Keth Vell, had built a secret communication device into her research equipment before he died. Using this device, Lisa was able to send messages to the approaching fleet. She provided information about Skarn's ship positions, troop numbers, and defensive systems. Every piece of data she sent was another way to honor the memory of the aliens who had died protecting her. Keth Vell, she whispered to herself as she worked. I promise your sacrifice will not be forgotten. Help is coming. Back at Luna Station, Admiral Harrison held his final briefing with all the ship commanders. The massive meeting room was filled with humans and aliens sitting side by side, all wearing the same expression of determination. In 12 hours, we depart for Skarn space, Admiral Harrison announced. Our mission is simple. Rescue Dr. Murphy and bring justice to those who murdered the 17 defenders. But this mission is about more than one rescue. We are showing the galaxy that friendship matters more than species, more than politics, more than fear. Fleet Commander Yeth Kor stood up. Admiral Harrison, the Velthari have a saying. Those who die for others live forever in the hearts of those they saved. Keth Vell and the others live forever in our hearts. Today, we fight to make sure they live forever in the galaxy's memory as well. Captain Amy Foster raised her hand. Sir, what are our rules of engagement with the Skarn? Admiral Harrison's expression grew cold. The Skarn chose to murder innocent researchers rather than respect their friendship with a human. They will be given one chance to surrender Dr. Murphy and submit to trial for war crimes. If they refuse, we will show them what happens when you hurt the friends of humanity. The briefing ended with something unprecedented in military history. Humans and aliens from 6 different species stood together and took an oath to fight beside each other, not for territory or resources, but for the memory of 17 beings who had proven that friendship could conquer fear. As the Great Fleet prepared for departure, messages poured in from across the galaxy. Some species offered support. Others warned that the Skarn Empire was powerful and dangerous. But the most important message came from the families of the 17 who had died. In the ancient language of the Velthari, translated for all to understand, they sent these words. Our children chose to die as heroes. Help them live as legends. The fleet departed Luna Station in perfect formation, 847 ships from multiple species, all heading toward the same destination. They carried the hopes of an entire galaxy and the promise that those who protected humanity's children would be protected in return. In Skarn space, War Commander Vox Thane received reports of the approaching fleet with growing concern. He had expected perhaps a dozen human ships seeking revenge. Instead, his sensors showed a force larger than anything the Skarn had ever faced, and it was coming directly for him. The hunt had begun. The combined fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Skarn territory like an avenging storm. 847 ships appeared in perfect formation, their weapons powered and shields raised. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching as his sensors showed the massive force spreading across space. All ships report ready for combat, announced Captain Carol Price from her position at the tactical station. The alien vessels are integrated into our formation perfectly. Admiral Harrison opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Admiral Harrison to all ships. We are now in Skarn space. Remember why we are here. 17 beings died protecting one of our own. Today we show the galaxy that such sacrifice will never be forgotten or go unanswered. The first scairn. Response came quickly. 3 patrol fleets, each containing 30 ships, moved to intercept the human-alien force. The Scarn commanders had clearly expected to face a small human rescue mission. Instead, they found themselves facing the largest combined fleet in galactic history. Incoming message from the lead Scarn vessel, reported Communications Officer Tim Baker. Put it through, Admiral Harrison ordered. The screen showed a Scarn officer with gray skin and red eyes. His voice was full of arrogance. Human fleet, you are trespassing in Scarn space. Turn back now, or face destruction. Admiral Harrison stepped forward. I am Admiral Harrison of the Earth Defense Force. We demand the immediate release of Dr. Lisa Murphy and the surrender of all personnel responsible for the murder of 17 civilian researchers. The Scarn officer laughed. You humans are as foolish as we thought. Did you really bring this entire fleet for one criminal? We will destroy you all and send your wreckage back to Earth as a lesson. Then you have chosen your path, Admiral Harrison replied. All ships engage the enemy. The Battle of Thex High began with a devastating display of combined human and alien firepower. Captain Matt Johnson led the UES Stormbreaker and 12 other ships in a direct assault on the center Scarn fleet. The human kinetic weapons firing, metal projectiles at incredible speeds, punched through Scarn shields like they were paper. At the same time, the Velthari ships used their advanced energy weapons to target Scarn engines and weapon systems. The Zephyrian crystal ships sang their battle songs as they fired beams of pure light that cut enemy vessels in half. Their shields cannot handle the combined firepower, reported Captain Danny Ross from the UES Vengeance. The Scarn technology is designed to fight one species at a time. They have never faced this kind of cooperation. The battle was over in less than 2 hours. All 90 Scarn ships were destroyed or captured, while the human-alien fleet lost only 3 vessels. The victory sent shockwaves through Scarn space and beyond. For the first time in centuries, the mighty Scarn military had been defeated. In open battle, Admiral Harrison did not waste time celebrating. While the main fleet continued toward Kepler Station, he sent smaller task forces to attack Scarn military bases and supply lines. Captain Nancy Lee led her squadron of destroyers to hit a major Scarn fuel depot. Captain Bobby Turner took his cruisers to destroy a communication relay that coordinated Scarn fleet movements. Each victory was broadcast across the galaxy, showing that the Scarn Empire could be beaten. Species that had lived in fear of Scarn expansion for generations began to hope that freedom was possible. On Earth, people gathered around communication screens to watch the battles. President Kate Sullivan addressed the planet. Our friends died protecting one of our children. Now we fight to protect their memory and show the universe that such friendship will always be defended. The Scarn leadership, facing their first major military defeats in centuries, tried desperately to stop the advancing fleet. They offered to negotiate, promising to return Dr. Murphy in exchange for human withdrawal from Scarn space. Admiral Harrison's response was broadcast on all frequencies throughout the galaxy. The Scarn had their chance to show mercy when 17 researchers stood between them and 1 civilian. They chose murder instead. Now they face the consequences. As the fleet approached Kepler Station, they discovered that the Scarn had turned the research facility into a fortress. Weapons platforms surrounded the station. Energy shields protected every approach. 3 full Scarn battle fleets waited in defensive positions. Sir, reported Captain Helen Gray from the UES Justice, they have concentrated their most elite forces here. This will not be an easy fight. But Admiral Harrison had an advantage the Scarn did not know about. Dr. Lisa Murphy, still held prisoner, on the station, had been sending intelligence reports through her hidden communicator. She provided detailed information about Scarn defensive positions, troop numbers, and a critical weakness in the station's shield system. The shields have a gap in Section 7, Admiral Harrison explained to his captains during the battle briefing. Dr. Murphy discovered that the Scarn engineers made a mistake when they modified the station's power systems. If we can hit that exact spot with concentrated fire, the entire shield network will collapse. Fleet Commander Yeth Kor of the Velthari added his own intelligence. My people built part of the original station. I know the internal layout. If you can get a strike team inside, I can guide them to where the human is being held. The plan was complex, but necessary. The main fleet, would engage the Skarn defensive forces in a massive battle to draw their attention. Meanwhile, a small team of human marines and alien commandos would use the shield gap to infiltrate the station and rescue Dr. Murphy. Commander Linda Shaw volunteered to lead the rescue team. She was known throughout the military for her successful special operations missions. "Give me 12 Marines and a dozen alien volunteers. We will bring Dr. Murphy home." As the great fleet prepared for the final battle, messages came in from across the galaxy. The brave fight of the human-alien alliance had inspired other species to stand up against Skarn oppression. Rebellions were starting on occupied worlds. The Skarn Empire was beginning to crumble. Dr. Peter Kim, studying the intelligence from Dr. Murphy, made a disturbing discovery. "Admiral, she reports that the Skarn are keeping the bodies of the 17 researchers who died protecting her. They are treating them as trophies." A cold silence fell over the bridge. Admiral Harrison felt the same anger that had driven the fleet across the galaxy burning even hotter in his chest. The Skarn had not only murdered innocent researchers, they had desecrated their remains. "Pass that information to all ship commanders," he ordered quietly. "Make sure every crew member knows what we are dealing with." Captain Amy Foster spoke for the entire fleet when she sent her response. "Admiral, my crew requests permission to make the Skarn pay for this dishonor. Those researchers died as heroes. They deserve to rest as heroes." On Kepler Station, Dr. Lisa Murphy could hear the sounds of the Skarn preparing for battle. She did not know exactly when the rescue would come, but she knew it was close. Through her hidden communicator, she had heard Admiral Harrison's voice promising that help was on the way. "Keth Vel," she whispered to the memory of her friend. "They are coming. Everyone is coming. Your sacrifice meant something. It meant everything." War Commander Vox Thane, the Skarn officer who had ordered the death of the 17 researchers, stood in his command center looking at the approaching fleet. For the first time in his military career, he felt genuine fear. The humans had brought more ships than his intelligence officers had thought possible. Worse, they fought with a determination he had never seen before. "Commander," reported his tactical officer, "the human fleet is not following standard military doctrine. They are taking risks no logical commander would take. It is as if they care more about their mission than their own lives." Vox Thane understood the problem. His forces fought for conquest and glory. The humans and their alien allies fought for something much more powerful, the memory of friends who had died protecting an innocent. That kind of motivation made ordinary beings capable of extraordinary things. "Prepare all defenses," he ordered. "If the humans want a battle, we will give them one they will never forget." But as the massive fleet drew closer to Kepler Station, Vox Thane could not shake the feeling that he had made a terrible mistake when he ordered his soldiers to kill those 17 researchers. He had turned what should have been a simple arrest into a symbol of friendship that would inspire the galaxy for generations. The final battle was about to begin. The Battle of Kepler Station began at 0800 hours, when 847 ships of the Human-Alien Alliance dropped out of hyperspace in perfect attack formation. The sight was magnificent and terrifying. Warships from multiple species moving as one, their weapons gleaming in the light of the distant star. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching as the Skarn defensive fleet moved to intercept them. 300 enemy ships spread across space, their black hulls bristling with weapons. Behind them, Kepler Station hung in space like a metallic fortress, surrounded by defensive platforms and energy shields. "All ships, this is Admiral Harrison," he announced on the fleet-wide channel. "Today we fight not for territory or glory, but for the memory of 17 beings who showed the galaxy what true friendship means. Let their sacrifice guide our actions." The first exchange of fire lit up the darkness of space. Captain Steve Collins led his fighter squadrons in a daring attack on the Skarn defensive platforms. His pilots, both human and alien, flew through enemy fire with incredible skill and courage. "Watch your starboard side, Collins," called Captain Helen Gray from the UES Justice. Her destroyer squadron was providing cover for the fighters, their weapons targeting any Skarn ship that tried to intercept the smaller craft. The battle was fierce and chaotic. The Skarn fought with desperate determination, knowing that defeat here would mean the end of their empire. But the Human-Alien Alliance fought with something more powerful than desperation. They fought with the memory of friends who had died protecting an innocent. Captain Carol Price, commanding the 7th Fleet from her flagship, coordinated the main assault. All heavy cruisers, target the enemy command ship. Show them what happens when they murder civilians. The UES Vengeance, under Captain Danny Ross, led the charge against the Skarn flagship. Its kinetic weapons fired continuously, sending metal projectiles through space at incredible speeds. The Velthari ships added their energy weapons to the attack, while Zephyrian crystal ships sang their battle songs as they fought. While the main battle raged, Commander Linda Shaw led her special rescue team through the gap in the station's shields. Her team consisted of 12 human marines and volunteers from 4 different alien species. They moved through the station's corridors like silent ghosts, following the path that Dr. Lisa Murphy had described in her intelligence reports. "Contact ahead," whispered Sergeant Mike Torres, the team's point man. 6 Skarn guards outside the detention area. The guards never knew what hit them. Human Marines and alien commandos struck simultaneously, using their different abilities to overcome the enemy quickly and quietly. Within minutes, they had reached Dr. Murphy's cell. Lisa looked up in amazement as the door opened. Commander Shaw stood there, her armor scorched from battle but her face filled with determination. "Dr. Murphy, I am Commander Shaw. We are here to take you home." Lisa felt tears in her eyes. "The 17 who died protecting me. Do people know what they did?" "Ma'am," Commander Shaw replied, "the entire galaxy knows. That is why we are here." As the rescue team moved through the station toward their extraction point, they made a horrifying discovery. In a secured section near the command center, they found the bodies of the 17 researchers who had died protecting Dr. Murphy. The Skarn had indeed kept them as trophies, displayed in a grotesque museum of their victory. "This ends now," said Commander Shaw quietly. She activated her communicator. "Admiral Harrison, we have found the 17. Request permission to recover our friends." "Permission granted, Commander. Bring them home." The rescue team worked quickly to gather the remains of the fallen researchers. Each body was treated with the utmost respect and dignity. These beings had died as heroes, and they would be honored as heroes. Meanwhile, the space battle had turned decisively in favor of the Alliance. The combined firepower of human kinetic weapons and alien energy systems was overwhelming the Skarn defenses. Ship after ship fell to the coordinated assault. Captain Matt Johnson, commanding the UES Stormbreaker, led a direct attack on the station's main weapon platforms. "For Kethvel and all the brave ones who fell," he called out as his ship's guns destroyed the enemy positions. War Commander Vox Thane, watching his forces crumble around him, finally understood the magnitude of his mistake. He had expected the humans to send a small rescue force. Instead, they had brought an army of allies united by friendship and honor. "All Skarn ships, this is War Commander Vox Thane," he broadcast on all frequencies. "I surrender. Cease fire. We surrender." Admiral Harrison received the surrender message with cold satisfaction. "Vox Thane, you are guilty of murdering 17 civilian researchers. You will be taken into custody to face trial for war crimes." "Admiral," Vox Thane replied, his voice defeated, "I underestimated the bonds between your species and the others. I did not understand what friendship could accomplish." "No," Admiral Harrison said quietly, "you did not. And that ignorance cost 17 innocent beings their lives." The aftermath of the battle was swift and decisive. The Skarn military, facing complete destruction, agreed to all of the Alliance's demands. War criminals would face trial. Occupied worlds would be freed. Reparations would be paid to the families of those who had died. 6 months later, a memorial service was held at the rebuilt Kepler station. Representatives from 47 different species attended, including many who had previously considered humans too young and violent for galactic society. Dr. Lisa Murphy, fully recovered from her injuries, stood before the memorial wall. 17 names were carved into the metal, each in the language of the being it honored. At the center of the wall was a human figure with outstretched arms, symbolizing the protection they had provided. These 17 beings showed the galaxy what friendship truly means, Dr. Murphy said to the gathered crowd. They came from different worlds, had different bodies, thought in different ways, but when it mattered most, they stood together. They proved that the bonds between friends can be stronger than fear, stronger than hatred, stronger than death itself. Admiral Harrison, now retired, stood with the families of the fallen researchers. Through translators, he spoke with Keth Vels, parents, promising them that their son's sacrifice would never be forgotten. Fleet Commander Yeth Kor, representing the Velthari Confederation, addressed the gathering. The humans came with 847 ships to honor 17 beings who died protecting one of their people. This showed us that humanity understands the true value of friendship. Today, our species are allies, not because of treaties or trade agreements, but because we have fought and bled together. The memorial service ended with the reading of the Kepler Accords, a mutual defense treaty signed by 23 species. The agreement established a simple principle. Any attack on civilians under the protection of a member species would be considered an attack on all member species. Dr. Lisa Murphy returned to her research, now working with a new generation of scientists from dozens of different worlds. They came to Kepler Station not just to study alien life forms, but to learn about the friendship that had inspired the greatest rescue mission in galactic history. Captain Amy Foster, now an admiral herself, often brought new officers to visit the memorial. "Remember this," she would tell them. "These beings had no military training, no weapons, no special powers. All they had was the courage to stand between a friend and danger. That courage changed the galaxy." The story spread to every corner of known space, told in hundreds of languages, and adapted for countless different cultures. But the core message remained the same. Those who protect the innocent will be protected in return, and friendship between different beings is the strongest force in the universe. In the words that were carved at the base of the memorial, translated into every known language, they died as strangers protecting a friend. We came as friends to honor strangers. In death and victory, we became family. War Commander Vox Thane, serving his life sentence on a prison world, often thought about the events at Kepler Station. In his cell, he had a single picture, the image of 17 beings from different worlds standing together to protect one human civilian. He had learned too late that some bonds are stronger than military might, and some causes are worth any sacrifice. The galaxy had learned the same lesson, but in a different way. They had learned that humanity valued friendship above all else, and that humans would travel across the stars to honor those who showed them kindness. The Skarn Empire fell not because of superior weapons or tactics, but because they had misunderstood the power of beings who fight for love rather than conquest. Dr. Lisa Murphy lived for many more years, continuing her research and training new scientists. But she never forgot the 17 who died for her, and she made sure the galaxy never forgot them either. Their sacrifice had created something beautiful, a universe where different species could trust each other completely, knowing that friendship would always be defended. The last entry in her research journal, written shortly before her death many years later, read simply, "They saved one life. In doing so, they saved us all."